supermarket, symbol of the high standard of living in this country today. Yes, in one generation, people of this country have doubled their consumption of poultry. Marketing research has developed low-cost methods of mass distribution in processing, storing, handling, and packing. And these boxes join the never-ending parade of food. Food on the move.
The risk is that if today you don't have a robust strategy to have your products arriving in time in the most efficient way, you're going to lose maybe 3, 4, 5 years, or probably you're not getting back that space for you.
I don't think I've ever seen anything like 2020 in my lifetime.
You don't have to buy so much. Take it easy. Just relax. There's no shortages. We have no shortages other than people are buying anywhere from 3 to 5 times what they would normally buy.
Because as I've said many times, and I'll repeat it, the worst is yes ahead for us. It is how we respond to that challenge that's going to determine what the ultimate endpoint is going to be.
It was a very trying time for all of us, and none of us at that time had sort of a larger view of how big it was or was going to get. I mean, I still remember the first reports out of Wuhan about what's happening in Wuhan and some lockdowns and this weird virus going on. And I remember we wrote a story, somehow we got the information about things going on at the Wuhan port, which is a river port feeding China, and that was shutting down, and they were barring ships, new ships from coming in, and Wuhan being an industrial center, that was affecting some traffic in the area and supply chains, and that was, causing little ripples around the world.
The pandemic was something that was really happening in a very short amount of time. The March, April, and May 2020, we had a spike of sales, and the supply chain was not prepared for this spike. So we had many empty shelves. People were running to buy all the products that were on the market, and at the same time, the distributor inventory was very low, or we had so many out of stock in the supply chain.
The last couple of years have been, in a nutshell, probably the most unprecedented that we've seen in terms of the global pandemic, the inflation, the geopolitical concerns that are happening right in Europe. It's been tremendous. During the pandemic, we saw that companies were unprepared for the tremendous strain on their supply chain.
We say something like the supply chain as if it's one solid thing, but it's really something where if you look closer, it's just made of an uncountable series of actions and things that all work in a particular way, like sand on a beach. And somehow all of that kind of washed out to sea, slowly at first and then rapidly.
tutti quanti noi abbiamo visto una fila di formiche che dal formicaio vanno e vengono e portano piccole cose da mangiare. Ecco, quella è una supply chain quando funziona tutto perfettamente. Quello che è successo nelle supply chain del mondo è stato questo: è stato messo un grosso sasso in mezzo alla fila delle formiche, noi, indaffaratissimi nelle nostre attività umane, e siamo impazziti e andati in tutte le direzioni. Adesso stiamo cercando di rimettere tutto in maniera allineata, ma non è semplice, anche perché poi la pandemia è stato un primo punto, ma poi c'è stata la guerra in Ucraina, che ha dato un altro colpo di destabilizzazione per tutte altre ragioni, ma che comunque ha impattato.
La supply chain ha subito una serie di scosse in questi ultimi 2 anni, e il conflitto tra Russia e Ucraina ha semplicemente creato un ulteriore livello di incertezza. L'Ucraina è uno dei principali produttori di grano duro, e attualmente l'Italia si approvvigiona per circa il 20% di questa materia prima. Ovviamente, venendo a mancare questa quota, sicuramente il costo della pasta e dei derivati del grano andrà sicuramente ad aumentare. L'Ucraina è il principale produttore mondiale di olio di girasole, ovviamente subirà delle ripercussioni a causa di questa situazione.
Abbiamo sperimentato per qualche mese delle problematiche relative a una certa crisi della logistica, quindi anche molte catene del valore, molti aspetti della supply chain si sono sfilacciate, sono logorate da questa crisi che può essere momentanea. Dobbiamo saper uscire con una serie di verifiche che devono essere fatte.
Take you for a ride in my brand new car. Gonna take you for a ride in my brand new car. Gonna show you how the shifter feels, 'cause tonight is the night that we make it real. Gonna take you for a ride in my brand new car.
Uno dei fattori scatenanti degli autostock o comunque dei ritardi delle consegne arriva anche qui sul territorio per la carenza dei circa 85.000 autisti che oggi mancano nel comparto del trasporto domestico sul territorio americano. I player stanno soffrendo quella che è l'incertezza dei tempi di consegna. Le navi aspettano in rada, c'è bisogno di tante settimane per poter arrivare ai centri di distribuzione, e spesso c'è anche una carenza di personale qualificato ai centri di distribuzione per poter dare degli appuntamenti per lo scarico delle merci. Basta paragonare un dato. Pre-pandemia un transit time per la East Coast si aggirava intorno ai 30 giorni, per semplificare. Oggi si arriva anche a 100 giorni di transito. E in questa situazione le piccole aziende soffrono, perché insieme alla congestione dei porti e al prolungamento delle consegne c'è anche una grossa pressione finanziaria, soprattutto delle piccole aziende che devono avere delle esposizioni per i prodotti che vogliono vendere su questo mercato, che sono triplicate rispetto al periodo pre-pandemico.
American production has become the most efficient in the world. And as a result, our factories and industrial plants are turning out an ever-increasing amount of goods, things that people want and need. But as industry grows, so also grows the problem of how best to get the products of industry into the hands of the consumer.
It's getting to be a problem. This, exports are good, imports are bad, is 100 years ago thinking. There's a bridge in Trenton, New Jersey, with a big sign that says, "Trenton makes, the world takes." That's the model of trade that everybody likes. But that's from 100 years ago. That bridge is more than 100 years old. And the world now is where we make all kinds of things together. And sometimes we design things and somebody else makes them. But if you look at where the money is in designing things. The money is in creating a new product.
The world has changed. Prior to the crisis, we cheered the focus on lean, efficient supply chains, leaving no buffer or margin for error when it comes to certain parts arriving just in time is needed to make a final product. We need to take a longer view, though, and invest in building greater resilience to withstand the kinds of shocks we've seen over and over. TSMC is investing $40 billion here in Arizona, the largest foreign investment in the history of this state.
The United States is the global leader of freedom, democracy, and innovation. President Joe Biden said, "America is a nation that can be defined in a single word: possibilities."
I started my career doing visas in Taiwan, and one of the visas we used to issue were for people from Taiwan who were investing in the United States, and they were investing in restaurants and jewelry stores and motels and things like that. And it's kind of wonderful to see now that they're investing in, billion-dollar chip factories and stuff like that, and really bringing big money into the U.S. So I think it is going to continue. I don't think problems with China are going to accelerate or block it very much. And so I think manufacturing closer to the customer is probably the thing that most companies have learned in this tumultuous time.
Friendshoring sounds really great, except that the world changes. So the direction of trade it seems constant, and yet it's always changing, and it's going to change over the next 5 years, 10 years. We see it happening in small ways now. We may see it happen in much bigger ways in the future.
I don't believe globalization has ended. Globalization is here to stay, and it has been a tremendous driver of growth, economic opportunity for people around the globe. I see it in my own family and those who I interact with from India and other remote parts of the world. It is remarkable.
It's a moment of big transformation. Every company, big and small, has to rethink the whole issue of supply chain. They have to look at the list of suppliers, they have to look at the location of their suppliers, and they also have to think forward. They can't just have a supply for a few months, they have to think in terms of 2-3 years. So it's a monumental change. I think that going forward, this will become a factor for winners and losers. Those who do it faster and probably deeper will have better results than the others.
Some people call this a war. War or not, one thing is sure. A daily battle is being waged in supermarkets all over this country. A battle for the customer's dollar.
We have seen a shift before and after the pandemic, how some of the companies are working and thinking about their global supply chains. Before the pandemic, 4 years ago, there was tremendous focus on getting the product or service at the right price. There was a lot of focus on the cost, negotiating the best cost, total cost of ownership was the number one driver. And now what we see with some of our most forward-looking customers and companies out there, they of course still very much care about the spec of the product and the cost of it, but they want to work with long-term suppliers, partners, who are going to bring, of course, ethics to their products, have a reduced environmental impact, have it created and manufactured in the most ethical way possible. Those same companies are creating and investing in these suppliers and partners for co-innovation to create opportunities for a whole sector of supply base who might not have had opportunities before.
Questo è un momento unico perché ovviamente come sistema Italia gli Stati Uniti sono un partner strategico. Il nostro primo partner commerciale per il Made in Italy per l'export è un paese assolutamente chiave. Essendo l'Italia un paese produttore di tantissime materie prime che non si trovano sul territorio americano, abbiamo comunque la possibilità di uscirne con tante categorie che restano competitive nonostante l'inflazione e la corsa verso l'alto dei prezzi.
Faut pas arrêter car c'est la vie, on sait jamais alors. Respire les problèmes qui nous mènent nus, y en a toujours d'autres, on continue.
La supply chain, c'est une grande question. Alors je suis pas moi-même un spécialiste, en revanche, puisqu'on est très attaché à l'innovation, on voit énormément de choses autour de la sustainability, mais donc beaucoup d'attachement, de plus en plus d'attachement et d'attente autour de la traçabilité des aliments sur toute la chaîne.
Now, it is a very unique time, almost a perfect storm, where the availability of data, along with the power of large language models and AI and generative AI, ML, can allow us to really live and achieve the just-in-case model so that companies can connect their demand signals with their supply on a truly kind of intelligent basis.
ERP is a program that is putting in contact all the supplier chain players. If we have all the information coming from those 4 players, then we have an opportunity. The opportunity is to give more robust imported programs. That means no overstock, no out of stock. That is what happened during the pandemic.
The long supply chains are going to have to go. They're going to get shorter. They're going to be redundant. They're going to make it same part in 2 or 3 places maybe. But you can do that. You can do that with technology. You can do that when the design is what changes.
Post-pandemic, we are in a new paradigm to deal with this time of uncertainty, heightened uncertainty across a variety of areas. And the new phraseology is from just-in-time to just-in-case.
Just-in-time, I think, was a concept that was working for many years when everything was working very well. Today is not applicable. Just-in-time is risky because the right-on-time model, that is the one that we think can become a new standard, is the fact that you have a critical mass, you have a volume of goods that are, need to arrive at a certain point, but instead of waiting everything that is produced and be, for instance, consolidated in the same container, you can adapt what is available and you can make sure that critical mass, critical products are arriving to the final destination.
I believe if we can crack the code towards really solving some of these problems of climate, of social issues, it's going to come from the supply chain. The supply chain is the center of all of the things that we can do, of the non-linear exponential impact we can make on sustainability going forward. And so that's what keeps me going. It drives me.
Definitely we can save the last shelf. You need to be fluid in the management of of those kind of crises. I think the big key learning of these past years is the fact that still human being is the most important factor in the supply chain management.